So I just read a statistic that over 220 children this year alone have committed accidental shootings with firearms, 92 resulting in 92 deaths and 135 injured. That's an astounding number. That should never happen. And I know that a lot of that, if not all of it, is from not following the rules of firearm safety. And you have to understand, people have to understand that in order for something like that to happen, you have to break multiple rules at one time. You break one rule and it's a bad thing, and bad things can happen. But to that degree, you had to have broken multiple rules at one time. Always keep your finger off the trigger. Sometimes people keep it here. Personally, I don't like that. Sometimes you have a bit of adrenaline. Sometimes you slip and your finger ends up in the trigger guard before you know it. Always keep your finger above the trigger guard. Always point in a safe direction. Never at anything that you don't intend to kill or destroy. And always treat a weapon as if it is loaded. Always. And if you know it's unloaded, always treat it as if it is loaded. That's it. Follow the rules of firearm safety. I can't count how many times I've kicked somebody off of a gun range. It don't work there, mind you, but I'm typically in uniform. I've kicked people off the gun range because I look over and the guy's spinning a loaded revolver on his finger around his friends. Or I had a chick pointing a full auto MP5 she rented. Excuse me, the boyfriend was pointing a full auto MP5 he rented at his girlfriend to take a picture. Kicked him off the range, told the range safety officer what I saw. That is a danger to everybody. Follow the rules of firearm safety. If you own a weapon, clear it properly. The thing that people frequently do, these are dummy rounds, the thing that people frequently do with a loaded weapon is they leave them loaded and put them down. If you own children, don't own children. If you have children, don't do that. Just don't do it. Don't put it down like this. Lock it up, unload it, something. But don't leave a gun laying around like this. The next frequent thing people do is take the mag out and forget that there is still a round in the chamber. Still a round in the chamber. The other thing that really is the same thing is getting interrupted. Some people get interrupted, they take the mag out, something happens, you put the gun down and forget that you left that round in the chamber. You walk back past it and there's no magazine in the weapon and you just assume it's unloaded. One thing with the Glock in particular is when the trigger is forward, I always question it. And you properly unload a Glock. There's no round in this. Point the safe direction, pull the trigger, and the trigger is all the way back. So when I walk past this weapon with the trigger all the way back, I know that I unloaded it. When I walk past it with the trigger forward, I question automatically whether or not I left it loaded, even if there's no magazine in it. I've done it many times that I can think of, and I pick it up, it's unloaded, but there was one time, only one, and it only takes one mistake. There was one time that I thought I unloaded it, and it was like this when I walked past it. So I picked it up, pointed safe direction, I put my finger on the trigger, and I thought about it. And I said, well, just for good habit, rack the slide 3 times. And on the first rack, round came out the chamber. That was almost a very bad day. There's no telling what would have happened. That could have went through the wall, it could have ricocheted. Bad things happen from making a mistake one time. Follow the entire clearing drill. When you take your weapon off after a long day, take the magazine out, clear the chamber, lock the slide back. I personally like to rack 3 times. It's just me. Lock the slide back, visually inspect it, look for that hole, stick your finger in it, make sure there's no round in there, and now you know for a fact that this weapon has been unloaded before you put it down. The reason why we visually inspect it and stick your finger in the chamber is because you just want to be certain. I've had one time with this M4 actually where I had a damaged shell. The lip on the back of the shell was damaged, and I checked that weapon 3 times. Well, I didn't check it good enough, clearly. This was when I first started with long guns, where I thought I loaded it. I'm sure I loaded it, but when I went to clear it, no round came out. Took it home, did the same thing, no round came out. Picked it up the next day, visually looked around it, made sure it was good, racked the slide, threw it in the case, took it to work. One of the guys wanted to see it, and of course, you always hand somebody a weapon, open chamber. I go to open the chamber, and round comes out. The shell was damaged, so somehow the first 3 times the extractor didn't grab it. That could have been a bad day. So that's why you make sure you do a good visual inspection and stick your finger in there. Make sure. If you get used to following that entire clearing drill, then even when you're half asleep at the end of a very long day, you're not going to make that mistake of putting down a loaded weapon, because it only takes one mistake for an accidental shooting.